Hey, I'm Dan. Today I'm going to deconstruct every single end-to-end influencer's lead generation workflows that I can find, and then I'm going to rebuild my own ultimate lead generation workflow and share with you right on this channel. And that is exactly what I did. I jumped into YouTube and I searched for lead gen workflow end-to-end, and I looked at how everyone was building their lead gen workflows. And eventually, after countless hours were dedicated, I was able to create the ultimate lead gen workflow. The workflow begins starting with a form to submit the two URLs, one from LinkedIn and the other from Apollo.io. Once submitted, it'll trigger the workflow to run. Then, it'll populate the target Airtable spreadsheet with leads that are enriched with valuable data and a cold email that was written specifically for that lead using OpenAI GPT 4.1. At the end, it'll also send you a confirmation email. And that's the whole workflow in a nutshell. Before we dive into the details, if you are enjoying the video so far, please consider subscribing. If you are one of my 57 subscribers, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Now let's jump right back in. So, like you saw in the high-level overview, it all starts with a form submission. So, if I click into the form node right now, it's actually listening form submission because I'm testing the workflow at the moment. So this is the actual form. It's got two URL fields, the Apollo.io URL and the LinkedIn search URL. You can get these URLs traditionally of how you would build out a list of people in Apollo.io using the built-in UI. And similarly, you can do a job search on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn page. But yeah, you see, you can just do a job search here. Let's search for growth. And you can put in the filters that you want. Show 533 results. And this is how you would build a list on LinkedIn. You take the URL here, and then you paste it back into this field. So the least amount of leads that you can scrape from Apollo is 500, and the least amount of jobs that you can scrape from LinkedIn is 100. These are limits set by the Apify actors, which we are using in this case to scrape the data. These two fields down at the bottom here, what are you selling and who are you? These are fields that are used to create the personalized cold emails that I mentioned and will be used later in the workflow closer to the end. So let's press submit. And now you can see that the workflow starts running. We're going to take a look at each node after it finishes. So I'll see you soon. So now that the run has finished, we're just going to go over each node and what they do in the workflow. We're going to start off with this top path over here, which is where the LinkedIn scraping happens. The very first node in this path is the jobs scraper. We use an Apify actor that I have the URL for here. It's called Curious Coder LinkedIn Jobs Scraper. Basically, it'll take the URL that you submitted on the form, and it'll also take the count, the number of jobs that you specify you want to scrape, and then it will do an API request into this Apify actor, which will grab that data synchronously, which means you don't have to configure a loop that checks if the data is available every 10 seconds or nothing like that. It'll just give you the data like you see here once the data is ready, and it's just going to wait until the data is ready, so you don't have to do anything else. And then the limit node is there so that I can test the workflow. I don't want to be making the request to the API every single time. And I'm sure this is true for you too as well. When you first get this workflow, always make sure to test with the limit on. And the remove duplicates node is looking for the company name field. So it's going to deduplicate according to the company name. So we don't have to scrape for the same company over and over again in these following nodes here. So you see that this duplicates node lead into two paths. The first one is where we find the decision makers. So this code node is going to take all of that data that we get from the remove duplicates node, and it's going to build this object, company linked URLs. And it's specified to be in this format because we need to use it in this HTTP request, which is another Apify actor that I found to scrape decision makers that are part of a company according to the LinkedIn URL. So you see here, its designation is to be CEO, CFO, founder, and president. You can also change this parameter if you want to look for something else. This is also going to be using that synchronous API endpoint so that it's going to wait for the data to come in. I can just show you what it looks like if I'm to go into the Apify console, API endpoints. And for here, this is what you want to use. Run actor synchronously and get dataset items. So you want to use this one, not this one. And then it's going to proceed down to this code path, which is where it just gets rid of the unnecessary LTD incorporated type of acronyms at the end. I found that that kind of messes with the whole the merge records node over here. Speaking of, we can look at the second path down here. So the company scraper, it's just a GET request to LinkedIn, company LinkedIn URL. And what this is doing, it's just going to get basically the whole HTML code from that LinkedIn page, and we're doing this to extract the text. I have batching set up here because I found that if the batch request is too large or too often, if the batch interval is too low, LinkedIn will actually block you. It'll block your N8N instance from making any more GET requests for some time. So make sure you leave that in. And then it's going to proceed down to this loop here, which I had to do because this code, this is where we actually extract the text out of that HTML. As you can see, the HTML has been cleaned up to just get the text. But I found that once the number of companies scraped gets over like 30, the data gets so large that N8N memory cannot handle it. So I gave it some kind of a loop here. There's a waiting period, as well as for this insights scraper from the text. This is basically where we're running through GPT 4.1 Nano model to look at that text from the previous node and get us some insights, like the post that the company is making. So this errors out. This whole flow errors out if there is no loop. So that's why I put that in. And the last node end loop is basically setting up the data to be merged here with this merge records plus AI insights node. So when we look at this, you can see that we're combining it on the matching field. So we're doing like a join basically just on the company field. And then this is another interesting setup that I have here. Basically what we're doing here is we're going to be running it through a bunch of nodes to basically validate some potential emails, right? So what I found that making API requests to email finders, something like any mail finder, for example, is very expensive. It's very expensive. It's like $50 a month or something, $30 a month for like 25 emails for decision makers, at least. That's kind of a lot of money, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm using some JavaScript code to come up with some potential emails. So emails that may be what companies are using. So you see here, Sage French, Miss Sage French, I sincerely apologize for using your data here, but you did put your data on LinkedIn, but I'm still sorry. I promise I'm not going to mark it to you. So Sage French, she might have one of the emails that are in these formats, right? It's kind of true from my experience as well. First name dot last name at company domain, or the first letter of the first name dot last name at your company domain. These are all very common formats to be used for company emails. So we run that through another Apify actor that I found, which is cheaper actually than using something like an email finder. So this will actually give us which of these emails are valid. And after that happens, we filter based on the email status. So we're only getting the valid emails at this point. And then we merge it according to the first name, last name, and company on this merge node so that we get a more complete view of the data. So for example, you can see here for Sage, we're getting her company link for her LinkedIn, of course, post 1 and post 2 of her company that was made. So she's a decision maker for her company, and now we know post 1 and post 2 that her company has recently made. We also know her company info. So these are all really great information after this merge field right here. And we go down to this path where there's remove duplicates node again, so that we're removing potential duplicates that we get from the apollo.io path, which is just the same setup as the LinkedIn path. So we're removing duplicates there. And then we run it through the OpenAI node again, GPT 4.1 Nano. I found this good enough for this task, actually, surprisingly, if you just give it the right prompt. So I wrote that you are a cold email writer for an AI automations company, which supposedly is myself. Then we have a whole template here for the AI to use. Hey, first name, something about company, skip the subject and signature, only output the main content, because we might potentially use this in an email marketing platform for something like, I don't know, Instantly, or maybe even MailChimp, whatever, right? And then we feed it first name, company info, post 1, and post 2. So based on that, based on all of that data, the AI is going to compose a hyper-personalized cold email for us right in the workflow. The AI is doing that for you now. And then it's going to update our CRM, which I'm not going to show you that again because you saw it in the high-level overview. And then it's going to summarize the count of the leads that were submitted. And then finally, it's going to give us an email notification saying that the lead generation workflow has been finished and X number of leads have been inserted. And that's the workflow. And again, it's the same process for the Apollo.io path, just that it doesn't need to go through this whole email validation, creating potential emails and stuff, just because this Apollo.io already gives you the full lead with their emails. Yeah, and that's the workflow. Hey, thank you so much for watching. You're helping me out a ton just by watching the video. If there's any other cool topic that you'd like to see me make a video on, just let me know in the comments. And have a great one. I'll see you later.